Hi, my name's Catherine and I'm one of the tutors for the Academy of Floral Art. For Garden Week we are making floral crowns throughout the whole week, all different types. As flowers are a little bit hard to get hold of at the moment, I decided that I would use things from my store. So I have some lovely dried hydrangeas here, and lots of people dry hydrangeas at the end of the season, so if you have some of those you could use that. I also have some other flowers here which I've dried. So I've got some larkspur, I've got some eucalyptus, I've got some spray roses and some lamb's tails, bunny tails, which is a grass. So anything you've got that you can lay your hands on. I've also got a few pink peppercorns, which are lovely and dried as well. I've got some cold glue, which is a floral adhesive, but you can use any household adhesive, clear adhesive you've got. Or if you haven't got any of that, some of you may have a hot glue gun at home or a cold glue gun. That will work just as well on dried material. Just be careful if you've got children helping, because they can burn themselves. And I've got some beautiful velvet ribbon. For the base of my crown, I'm going to use willow, which actually is a fresh material. It's not dried, but it will dry beautifully. So the benefit of this crown is once it's made, you can keep it, it will dry, and you can wear it again in a couple of weeks' time on May Day or something like that. So the willow, I actually live in Somerset. Willow grows profusely in this area, and so this is just cut from the garden. In the spring, willow is very bendy. As it gets more mature and into the summer, then it's a little more difficult to bend. But whilst it's what we call green willow, you can bend it without breaking it. So that's what we're going to use to make our crown. Use the willow, as I mentioned before, and I'm going to start forming this into a ring. Now, when you get a little bit more practiced at it, it is possible to do it without binding it with any wire, but I've got some wire here. It's a bind wire, which is a type of thing you might have used on a Christmas wreath workshop or something like that. If you haven't got any of that, just get some garden twine or string or another type of wire that you might have to hand, just to hold this willow together. If you haven't got willow, then you could use another bendy stick that you could get your hands on. So maybe silver birch, if you've got that available to you. At this time of year, that's still very pliable and could be made into a ring. Or if you've got cornice in your garden, dogwood, you could use that. So there's lots of other alternatives, and I'm just going to get another bit of wire there and bind that together. So when you're cutting your wire, ideally have some wire cutters. If you haven't got any floristry scissors, don't be using your secateurs or anything like that, because you will make them a little bit blunt, which you don't want to do. So once you form that into a ring, it doesn't matter if you've got little bits sticking out, that just adds to the effect. And I'm just going to take some of those ends in, but once we've started putting the hydrangea over the top, you won't actually see it. So I've now formed a ring, and the next part is now to attach some flowers. So whatever you can get your hands on will be lovely. So now we've formed the ring, that's our basis to work on. I've cut up some of the dried flowers into smaller pieces. So I mentioned to you earlier I had hydrangeas, I've got some larkspur, and I've got some spray roses, which I've dried myself just by hanging them. You can either hang them in your airing cupboard, or if you've got a conservatory or a greenhouse, somewhere warm and dry with no moisture. And I've got these little grasses as well. And now what I'm going to do is just glue them into the willow frame. The good thing about the willow frame is you can just pop the ends through the frame. So because they're dried, you do get a little bit of bits and pieces fall off, but that's not a problem. So if you're using hot glue, as I mentioned earlier, just be a bit careful, because it's very easy to burn yourself with hot glue. So I'm just going to pop that on there and then work my way around, adding more and more flowers to it, as many or as little as you want. The willow itself is a lovely structure, so if you haven't got many flowers, you could just use a few, or if you've got lots of dried flowers you want to use, then you could fill it completely like I've done here. You can see now I've added lots of flour to my crown. I've broken the hydrangea down and made it into smaller bits and glued it in. And I'm now going to glue in some of these little grasses. So I'm just cutting the stem a bit shorter, putting a bit of glue on there, either your cold glue or your hot glue, whatever, or your cool melt, whatever you've got available, and just pop it into the crown. The benefit of having a dried flower crown is you can wear it this week for Garden Day, and please take pictures and tag us in on social media because we would love to see them. But you can keep these and you could hang it on your door as a small mini wreath, small mini door wreath, or you could wear it later in the summer when hopefully we may be able to get out and about a little bit more, and you could keep it for something later on. So I think that's done. I have left a little space at the back because I do like a bit of ribbon on a flower crown. I think it trails down the back and it does look really nice. And as I mentioned before, if you do want to hang it, then it gives you a way of hanging it. So if you don't want to wear it as a flower crown, you could hang it on your door, or hang it in your house or your kitchen or on your shed door, whatever you've got available. So I hope you have a lovely garden day. Be social on social media, tag us in, talk to your friends, FaceTime people, whatever means you can find to communicate with your friends and family and enjoy your gardens on Garden Day. Thank you.